Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's talk more about derived biofuels, and another form of a major biofuel is ethanol or bioethanol. So it is produced in different types of fermentation processes in the form of a mixture of different liquids. The concentration of ethanol produced during this process can vary depending on the source and the parameters operated during the process. So once we have generated ethanol, once we have synthesized ethanol, we can distill it to a much purer form. We can achieve 95% ethanol by simple distillation, or we can also achieve anhydrous form of ethanol by azeotropic co-distillation using a solvent. Both of these products have much value in industry as well as in commercial aspects as well. So why liquid fuels? In our previous session, we talked about biogas, for example, methane. Here we are talking about the liquid biofuels. Liquid biofuels have their own importance due to certain considerations. For example, they are easy to transport, they are easy to handle, they can be used much more directly as compared to other forms of fuels, and we can also control the usage, their burning as well. The combustion can be used as can be controlled as well. So these give extra advantages when using the liquid biofuels. One of them, the most important of them, is obviously ethanol. It is being produced worldwide for decades, and still the research is going on to maximize the yield by integrating different processes, as we talked in our previous lessons. So when we talk about ethanol, it can be used as a direct product, energy product, or it can also be used as a combination with other types of fuels as well. There are so many different industries in the world which are actually thriving on this biofuel, and there are different countries in the world which are leading in this approach, and they are producing so much bioethanol for their different processes. The examples can be of USA, which is relying on corn as input for the production of ethanol, and Brazil, which uses sugarcane and produces bioethanol from sugarcane. Now, the commercial viability of bioethanol production depends on certain factors, and these factors can also be found to play a role in production of different other types of bioenergy as well. For example, indigenous economy. What are the economic situations of a country or a region that will define that whether we can have certain sources to operate for the bioethanol production? Employment, transport costs as well. Government policy, whether it is in favor of the generation of bioethanol and other types of biofuels or not. Taxation and fiscal incentives as well. Obviously, major concern is economy, कि क्या बायोएथेनॉल प्रोडक्शन जो है वो इकोनॉमिकली फीजिबल है कि नहीं, और जो एंड प्रोडक्ट होगी उसको हम वहाँ पे यूज़ कर सकते हैं, और उसकी कितनी डिमांड है, ये सारी बातें इसमें आएंगी. अगर हम किसी एक्सीलेंट एग्जांपल की बात करना चाहें इन बायोएथेनॉल प्रोडक्शन, तो उसमें एक नाम ब्राज़ील का आता है. It is one of the leading countries to produce bioethanol. However, the bioethanol production by Brazil, it can date back to 1930s. However, the upsurge came in 1970s, and there are certain interesting stories that led. What happened, as the story goes, is that during the 1970s, the oil prices, the petroleum prices, they were on the increase, and they were almost increasing twofold per year. And at the same time, the sugar industry of Brazil, which they have invested recently so much into, it started collapsing, and because there was worldwide slump in that industry. So depending on these two scenarios, what they realized and what they thought of is that instead of waiting for the things to become better, they can use the sugarcane to produce bioethanol. So they already had biomass in the form of sugarcane, which was not generating revenue at that time, and the prices of the biofuels or the fuels in general were on the increase. So they used the already produced biomass to produce bioenergy, biofuel, ethanol. So you can see a very genius integrated approach by which they recycled their resources in much integrated manner to achieve the goal and to fulfill the demand. Now, the situation which exists today in different areas of the world can also be related with the scenario that Brazil was facing in 1970s, that we have a much more amount of waste or bio-waste, and the prices of the petroleum goods are on the increase, and their presence, their concentration, the amount in the world is also decreasing. So we can also use this bio-waste and other forms of waste and convert them into different forms of energies and bioenergies. So by doing this, we can achieve twofold results. We can not only deal with the waste, and the waste management can be done, but we can also produce energy, and pretty sustainable energy source can be achieved. Now, when we go for distillation to achieve ethanol and much more pure form of ethanol, it leads to certain byproducts. One of the biggest byproduct is called stillage, and this byproduct is actually rich in BOD and COD, and almost 6 to 16 liters can be produced for every liter of ethanol being distilled. You can see a large amount is being produced, and it is high in BOD and COD. This stillage can also be used in an integrated approach in some other forms of processes to produce different types of energy as well. Now, there have been much developments in anaerobic processes and in anaerobic microbiology, and the more understanding we have about these processes, the more scope we have for biotechnology as well. So these have given rise to different solutions for these different byproducts, for example stillage as well. The most integrated approach can be that if we can use bio-waste to produce ethanol, and then if we can use this stillage to produce biogas, which we discussed in our previous lessons. So what we are doing is that we have planted certain crops, maybe corn or sugarcane, which we are using to ferment and to produce ethanol. However, during this process, stillage is being produced, which is also high in BOD and COD. This stillage can also itself be used to produce other types of energy. For example, it can be used to produce biomethane. And in the end, a final aerobic stabilization phase can be there, which can stabilize the leftover BOD and COD present in the stillage and in other byproducts. So you can see here it is a very integrated approach in which we are using the bio-waste and different types of bio-waste and byproducts, and we are in kind of recycling all those things to produce energy. In this way, we are not only producing energy, but we are also managing the waste being produced by different processes. This was about ethanol fermentation and how different processes can be integrated to achieve better results. I will see you in next sessions.